Okay, hi girls. So I had to split this over two videos. That's the software, nothing to do with you. So what I'm going to look at now is the last piece of homework. You may or may not have gotten to do it. It's fine if you didn't, that's not a problem. But don't switch off. What I'd like you to do is listen to this, have a look at the code, put in the code, test it, run it for yourself, play around with it a little bit if you can. So don't switch off even if you didn't do this, because it is just interesting to see the code and what it does. So this was an extension challenge, and it was to redo the tables, but to let the user control how many sets of times tables appeared. So you ask the user to enter the highest table number you want to appear, and then based on that, it would, if they said 5, it would go 2, 3, 4, 5, and it would catch all of them. So let's have a look at the code solution for that. Okay, so that is not the code solution for that. This is the code solution for that. So here I'm asking the user to input the highest number. Remember, when we take an input, it's going to be a string value. So there's different data types that are taken in Python. You probably remember this, but let me go through it. When you just do an input, enter the highest table number, even if they put in the value 2 or 3 in numeric, it sees it as a string. So this is casting it as an integer. So that turns it into a number for us. And it stores that value in the variable highest. Highest will hold the integer as an integer because we've changed it to an integer here. So it's just saying enter the highest table number, and it's reading that in as a number. And then it's doing the loop, the outer loop first for number, which is my variable, in the range of 2 to the highest number plus 1. Have a think about it. Why am I doing the highest number plus 1 as opposed to just the highest number? Because this is highest, the value they put in, so they put in 5. Why am I doing 5 plus 1 here? Hopefully you're all going to get the right answer. I'll tell you in a minute. So for number in the range of starting from 2 up to highest, so say it's 5, but then actually put in here 6. And the reason for that is, we talked about it the other day, but it's good to remind ourselves of it, that in the range it goes to from the starting number up to 1 less than the other number, the higher number. So we've got to add 1 on to make sure it does the number 5. If we put in 5 here, that it does that 5th one. We just do our print out like we did before. Then our inner loop controls the number on the table. So it's like 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10 here. And then we're going to print out the outer number by the inner number and actually do the maths on that. So let's test it. Enter the highest number. I'm going to say 5. And it's going to go 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it in the output down here. Sorry, I don't know if that the record button is going to come out on the video, but hopefully you can see that 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it doesn't matter what number I put in there. 3. Just 2 and 3, so we're able to control it. So that's the last and the hardest piece of the homework for you to do. I'm conscious that the other video was 15 minutes long, and I'm going to do about 15 minutes in this video. That's 30 minutes, but I did ask you to stop in the other video, so I'm trying to fill 40 minutes of time. So because of that, I have a few things for you to do now. So I suppose if you want to take a couple of minutes break, this is the time to do it, because that's all the homework covered from the last day. What you should have done now at this stage is watch the first video, which is 15 minutes long, checked your homework against that, taken any notes of where you went wrong. Remember I said check the output. If the output is the same, then we're not worried at all about the code. It's right. But if the output isn't the same, or you're having trouble getting the output to do what you want, try and fix it based on the solutions I've given you here. And if you can't, get that ready to either email to me or show me next week. And then any questions you have, you should have taken them down. So if you haven't done that, go back to the 15-minute video, the previous one, and do that, and do it for this as well. Then take a few minutes break, 2 or 3 minutes, and then so pause this and then come back, because I'm going to get you to do a few other small tasks. Okay, so assuming you have checked off all your homework and everything is okay, I want you to try a few extra things. If the class is over, this is something you can do at home or whatever, but just to give you some extra stuff. So I want you to take a look at this code that I have on the screen. And what I want you to do is answer the questions that I'm going to say here. So I want you to take this code down. You can type it into your own Connie. And I have some questions here that I want you to think about in terms of this piece of code on the screen here. So that's this piece of code here. First of all, I want you to write out, and you can bring it along to class on Monday, what is the purpose of the inner loop? So in your own words, what is the purpose of the inner loop? In your answer, just write the code at the top that is the inner loop. Just want to make sure you know what that is. Why is there a single print function? We did cover this last day because you asked me this question. This print here at the end of the last line in this sample piece of code. And then lastly, what would the output be if the variables were columns, COLS, the top one, equal to 50, and rows equal to 10? Can you please sketch that out and bring it along on Monday? So I'm just going to say those questions one more time. What is the purpose of the inner loop? So I want a description of the purpose of the inner loop. Write the code that is the inner loop as part of that. Why is there this single print function down here? What's the purpose of that? And if we were to change the variable values up here of columns to 50 and rows to 10, what would the output of the program be? And can you sketch that out for me, please? Okay, last little task for you guys now for today. And hopefully this has filled the class for you. So what I want you to do now is a short task, but it should take you up to the end of the class. I want you to write a Python program, so I have it written here, that asks the user to enter the number of rows and columns for a grid. So you're going to have to prompt the user to enter the number of rows and prompt the user to enter the number of columns. Produce the diagram of asterisks that represent the user input. So for example, if the user inputs 3 rows, and 10 columns, we would have something like this. So if it says 3 rows, we have 1, 2, 3 rows there, and 10 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So have a go at that. Try write that piece of code and keep it for Monday. We can have a look at it. You should be able to use the code samples that I've gone through today and the stuff that I sent you the last day to produce that. So before you go and do that, because you can just stop the video then when you're going to do that, I just want to let you know that I am going to also email you on Friday with some other homework. Sorry. So it's not big homework. I'm going to do a video of the first and maybe the second searching algorithms. And I want you just to watch that over the weekend. So the maximum video time you're going to be watching is 30 minutes. Each one I won't take more than 15 minutes, and I'll do them as 2 separate videos so that you have them. I want you to look at that over the weekend so that we can spend time on Monday answering any questions you have on it and then looking to implement that in class. The sorting stuff is fine, but it takes a few goes to go through it to understand it. So what I want to do is I want to walk you through the concept of each of those. I'm not going to do any code in those videos. It's just the conceptual idea of how the sorting works. So I'm going to do linear sort and selection sort are the 2 I'm going to do over the weekend for you. So just watch out for that email on Friday and take a bit of time over the weekend to look at the 2 videos. You don't have to know those videos off by heart. I just want you to watch them and kind of be able to follow and understand what's going on. Same as before, as you're watching them, if something doesn't make sense, jot down your questions. I can take them on Monday. When I see you on Monday, then I am going to assume you've watched those videos, and I'm going to give you some examples to work through in class, and then we're going to go and tackle the code for those 2 in class as well, and then I'll give you some homework on that as well. So I hope that's okay. You know where I am. You have my email now. If there's any questions, please don't be afraid to email me on anything. I'm happy to take questions at any stage. So if you're working through stuff or you're not sure of stuff or you want to check in with me on something, just drop me an email and I'll come back to you. So thanks a million. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you on Monday.